Okie dokie. Good morning, good afternoon, folks. Good evening. Welcome down the security rabbit hole to another edition of the Down the Security Rabbit Hole podcast. Your favorite cybersecurity podcast, 15 years running, coming up on another season. Incredible, incredible, incredible. Before we dive into this really, really fun show, I just want to remind everybody I'm kicking off an Instagram for the account. So if you're out on Instagram, find DtSR podcast. I'm going to post some shorts out on there, just pieces of these conversations that we have that I think are kind of relevant. I may put funny things on there because life needs humor. And join us on YouTube where you can watch this video and all the others. You can see our guests' smiling faces and also us. I'm sorry for that. Except for Jim. Jim's always got the good beard. And of course on LinkedIn. But without further ado, this episode is all about the guy over here to my darn it that way. I always mess this up. I can't figure out left and right when it's anyway. All right, reverse video. That's it. Okay, so Philippe, reintroduce yourself and say hello.
I'm back to DtSR, boys. So happy about it. Thank you for that. So I'm Philippe. I'm a French CEO. I co-founded CrowdSec, which is, as you can guess, crowd security, nothing to do with CrowdStrike, even though we had a ton of calls when they crashed. It's about, having some kind of ways of cybersecurity. I'm an engineer by trade. I've been trained in an engineering school in France, which is a pretty good one, regarding cybersecurity. And I specialized in offensive security until I was not good enough to make offensive security and switch to defensive security. Let's sugarcoat it and say, I was really attracted to defensive security.
And because I am not at all petty, I am wearing the Chelsea Club World Cup winners T-shirt or jersey because we beat PSG and it was glorious. Even you got to acknowledge that game was marvelous. We tied our home opener. We tied our opener in the Premier League against an absolute crap team. I don't want to talk about it. We'll see how this season goes. Anyway, Jim, you ready? Let's do this.
Let's do this, man. I'm looking forward to it. This has been great.
So, look, last time you were here, we talked a little bit about CrowdSec. We talked about open source and the ability to be able to do really fast security with a lot of high fidelity, a lot of industry contribution. Tell me where that it has evolved, because it's been a minute.
Yeah, sure. So right now we don't have one block list because, the way it works is all the people using CrowdSec in the world, which is an IDS, an IPS, and a WAF all together, and we'll be back to that, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
All the people using it in the world, which is now hundreds of thousands of machines, roughly probably between 300 and 400,000 machines. When they block something, when they detect an attack, they remediate it, they protect themselves, but they share with us the IP address that attacked them, the timestamp, and the way they were attacked. And with this, we create a global real-time map of the public IP addresses used by cyber criminals. So long story short, we receive along the lines of 30 million signals per day, which are attacks, right, are reported by our networks. And we generate this real-time map of who is doing what with which IP. So now, instead of giving this as a CTI format, it's cool and it's useful for the people like Mandiant, Cisco, Cloudflare, you name it. But the final customer, what they want is a block list. They want to say, like, I want IP that are aggressive against Great Britain, UK, against US and against Japan, for example. I want IP that are doing brute force, credential stuffing, credit card stuffing, and DDoS. And I want IP that are doing this, and that. Or that are specifically active against pharmaceutical industry or retail or whatever. And once you have that, CrowdSec compiles for you one block list that you can spread all across your devices, whatever they are. Reverse proxy, load balancers, firewall, in just one click. So it evolved in this direction. So easier to consume anywhere you want. And the other way it evolved is we've been reviewed by the biggest names of this world. You cannot, like Talos, like Mandiant, like Microsoft, Cloudflare, all of them say something along the lines, hey guys, you have things we don't have, around 30% more than we have. So just chew this. The people of Mandiant that are hoarding the data from Google, Mandiant, and VirusTotal, and Wiz all together, we still have more than they do. And better even, we have 1 to 10 weeks advance on the signals. So there are things we detect with the crowdsource approach that were not yet officially released, like the NetWeaver attack, the SAP one. We had it 15 days ahead, and some CTI are still trying to catch up now. The one of Palo Alto, we actually had it close to 3 weeks before anyone else on the market. So because we see this activity in our network, we see the guys trying to pull out these exploits, but it's not yet assigned a CVE number. So we're like, what is this? And we store them in a special shelf, and we look at it, and we create virtual patch on the fly for those that are not yet documented.
Ooh, can I ask? I want to, if I may, ask a question about that, because I find this fascinating. So, is that because you're getting it early? Is because that you're more willing to put in a control and is more quickly, like you have greater flexibility, and you're willing to block first and then worry about it later? Is it because you're just a small organization and able to move much more quickly these bigger ones, or is it because really you're dealing with a massive community and systems, and you're just getting it, or is it a combination of all three? Because that's a pretty killer statement to be, 3 weeks ahead of everybody else.
Yeah, it's a bold one, but I can back it up. The thing is the following. So you're right on the first one. There's a fourth one I would add, which is, okay, so the community is wide and it's super duper spread. So we have large banks down to Tinker Lab in Africa, to a super big corporate in America, whatever. So we have the whole range in all the countries, and we cover something like 4,000 different autonomous systems, which are, if you want, like countries of the internet, right? So what happens is there is a signal to noise ratio, which is extremely good in our data, because if so many people are reporting the same thing, coming from so different areas, so different backgrounds, so different size of businesses, location, autonomous system, and everything, it cannot be random noise. It cannot be someone poisoning us. It cannot be, an artifact. So the certainty level we have, we acquire it much faster than anyone on Earth, because if you have, say, honeypots, you have far less of them, and you have them on a shorter range, or maybe 2, 3, 4 different clouds, or 10, let's say, but not 4,000. So before you get a signal that is so pure, you're 100% sure you can block them, because that's the point. It's not information, it's action. You want to block people. So if you want to block them, you have to be 100% sure. And you cannot afford to say, hey, maybe we think blah, blah. No, it's out of the question. We are 100% sure. So that's partially this. And the second thing I would add, which is when you're Cloudflare, say, you see much more traffic than CrowdSec will ever see by a 10-fold or 1,000-fold amplification factor. But the guys, they know Cloudflare ranges, they know Akamai ranges, and they don't scan Cloudflare or Akamai with their brand new exploit, because they know
that's interesting. I wouldn't have thought that, Philippe. That's interesting.
They would be on the radar right away. It's like if you were trying to bomb the Fifth Avenue on New York, and you go with your outfit of a terrorist and in front of the cops. Obviously, you're going to get arrested the minute you put a foot on the Fifth. But if every other person on the Fifth Avenue is a cops in disguise, you have no chances whatsoever to plan to bomb without being noticed. That's the point. If you're too big, you're too obvious. So you don't try your brand new toys against the big names. You try them first elsewhere.
That's an interesting point, because you effectively have, you treat as sensors, as data collectors, all the enterprises that participate. And the trick is that they have to participate and feed back information. Otherwise, this doesn't work, right? It's just not, you're not in the business of gathering sensor data. You're in the business of receiving and filtering.
Yeah. Curating.
Yeah. So that's super interesting. We talked about this last time. I remember having a conversation about there's the the block lists. There's the threat data that you can do something with eventually. There's a threat data that you have that's kind of high, high certainty, high fidelity that you can go investigate or look for. But there's really a subset of this data that you're specializing in. That is this is 9 out of 9 dentists were surveyed. All of them say this is bad. Don't do this. Like, block this, right? 100 companies say they've been attacked by this IP address. Like, just block it. Don't think about it. Don't run it through another filter. Just throw it in the block list and block it.
And we clear it for you because this information is true for a certain amount of time. Because then the companies that are behind the IP address may clean it or not, and so on. So once the network stop putting pressure on this IP address, it means it's not reported anymore, meaning probably it's been cleaned. We don't care how, and we remove it from the block list. It has a fast track ticket though, so if it comes back, because some of them, they are just cooling down, going back, cooling down, going back. So then we have a fast track. But other than that, it's a self-healing system. So after 72 hours, if we don't have any more reports on an IP address, it's just cleared out of the block list. It stays in the CTI, but it's cleared out from the block list.
Yeah, because you don't want block lists that grow forever and crash systems out there. Okay. That's cool.
You want a fun fact and unpopular opinion, because I know it's where I can tell these things. Otherwise, I'm going to get fried elsewhere. The fun fact is CTI companies, we've been in contact with most of them, okay? Or last year, around probably 50, 60 of them. All of them come up with the same assessment. Your data are golden. They are better than what we have. They are better than the other field. And we're like, hey, yeah, okay. So will you buy them? No. Sorry, why? Because we already sell our product. If we buy your data and put them in our product, it makes our product better, but it doesn't help to sell better. So basically, we don't care about selling crap. What we want is a better bottom line. So the security of our client is not our concern. What's our real concern is our profit level. And if we integrate your data and you make us pay your data, then no, thank you. And like, so really, it's never been about, your marketing is entire bullshit. It's all about like safety of our client is our priority. No. Profit margin is your priority.
Yeah, but Philippe, if you rewind back a couple of shows, like we literally had this conversation. This industry really, really doesn't care about solving problems. It's just about making a profit. From the venture capitalists to the private equity firms to the founders. Yes, there are people out there that really want to do good, and then they see dollar signs and we're ruined. And we're back to, because look, evidence of this is everywhere, right? You've got platforms that are better that go away because nobody buys them. And why does nobody buy them? Because they're too expensive to solve the problem. If I can pay half of what the solution costs for something that tries hard enough and checks the box, why would I pay for the thing that solves the problem? I could rant, but I'm not going to this time. This is your show. We're on the same page on this. It infuriates me, but I like having so one of the nice effects you have on the industry as a whole by existing and by doing what you guys do is that those threat data feeds are super pricey, right? These companies are not charities. They make a lot of money. Now, they employ lots of people, do lots of other things. But what's interesting is, I think, and you can speak to this a little bit, you guys allow like somebody with a quarter and 2 sticks to rub together to be able to do blocking in a kind of a global intelligence scale, no?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think we try really hard to have offers for everyone. So if you are a Tinker, a Home Lab, whatever, you can use CrowdSec. You will have a great ideas. You will have a great WAF for free with all the signature, all the vPatch, CV, same day, and so on. So we back you, and you have a lot of IPs already for free. Then if you are a small, medium business, you can get the block list, you can get the SaaS. It's going to make your global security posture better. And honestly, for a fraction of the price of whatever you could think about. It's like $29 for one workload. And if you have several workloads, the price go down. So honestly, it's really, really cheap. The block lists, they are along the lines from 1,000 to 4,000, and they just kill a shit lot of attacks that you will not even see on your workloads. And the cost is really indexed on what it would cost you. But like 10% of what it usually costs elsewhere. And then if you're a big guy, a serious guy like Mandiant or Talos, or because those are the people that are really looking at the data and that will integrate it, because they are major companies and they're not, tinkering with client security. So on the Cloudflare and so on. So we'll sell to them the full CTI data lake, and they will get all the VPN exit point, the residential proxies, all the details, all the dimensions, 32 dimensions, and integrate them in their own feeds and do their own burger sauce, which is not our problem. So, but in your direction, in your way, when you make the product better, it's not appealing for the client. So what we found as a great product that we are developing and we put on the market, and honestly, I have not said that anywhere else mostly yet. This agentic thing, guys, right? It's all the rage right now. Right.
Believe me, I just came back from Black Hat. The agentic thing is
all the rage.
Yes, rage bait, but let's keep going.
Yeah, so to me and to you, Rafael, I know you, and to Jim, I'm pretty sure all of this is massive bullshit. So the guys have wrapped an LLM with a nice knot on it and say, hey, look, we are smart now. No, you're not. You just not. So the key to understand for the viewers, the auditors, is an LLM is answering your question. Right? It's chatting with you about whatever you want. Eventually, it's passing your logs, whatever, but it's just informational. If you want to switch to an action posture, you need an agentic. And for that, you need to give your LLM some hands, right? Or feet or legs or whatever, some actuators toward the real world. What it is basically is an API, and you tell the LLM how to use your API. This thing in between is called an MCP. It's a way we make the LLM interact with the real world through API, right? So just we are all at the same speed. I'm pretty sure all of you know it, but that way we don't lose anyone. So now what we've done is an MCP toward the whole surface of CrowdSec. What you can do is you authenticate yourself with your favorite LLM, you drag and drop your logs, and you say, okay, analyze what's wrong in those logs using CrowdSec. It's Claude or Gemini or Mistral or whatever will connect back to us, ask our MCP what is weird in this log, what is dangerous in these logs, tell you, classify the attacks, and tell you what IPs are dangerous and how. And this is literally one line. A monkey can do it. And you know what's beautiful in this is here we are interesting the people that are really willing to gain money, not make security better, because we are past that nowadays. What are those people? SOCs. Who are the SOC of the world? Indians. So if you take Deloitte, EY, PwC, all the major super duper big SOC of this world, 90% of their workforce is in India. And what they want to do is to be able to take one Indian and make him handle 20 cases per day instead of 5. And it's exactly what our agentic is doing.
That's interesting. So you're allowing your LLM of choice an interface point for the data that you have to basically say, here's 24 hours of data. Tell me, or logs, access logs, whatever logs. Tell me if there's anything I need to go look. Wow. Okay. That's interesting. Now, see, that's of all the crap use cases I saw at Black Hat, and there were a cornucopia of them. They were aplenty. That's an interesting one, because now you can. I mean, is this meant to be run in real time, or like on something like a batch schedule, like once a day?
Yes, one step ahead. Good call. So yeah, you can absolutely do it for a replay. Like I want to check what happened and if something is wrong, or my client says it's been compromised, how he was compromised. Or this is the next stage we are thinking about, making some kind of syslogd over the internet and just pipe it, man.
Wow.
That's
a Splunk killer.
That's a Splunk killer.
Well, Splunk's a Splunk killer, but that's beside Cisco's a Splunk
Sorry,
killer. Let's not go there.
I wanted to say SIM. Sorry, I shouldn't have probably thrown that one out there. That was a bit of a grenade. Apologies.
Is that a drone I hear overhead? No.
Yeah, exactly. Here they come.
Oh no.
Well, I mean, we're talking about enrichment. We're talking about like data enrichment. We're talking about threat hunting. We're talking about investigation. And now you're saying technically we're talking about monitoring.
We could. Honestly, we could. The question is the following. I mean, when we discuss with our buddies at Cloudflare, we say, hey, how fast, they ask us, how fast do you release vPatch? How fast do you release CVs when they're on the market? Because we've seen your log list and you're faster than we are, or equal to us. Some weeks we release the same number. Some weeks we are beating them. Some weeks they are beating us. So basically we have the vPatch as fast as they do, right? So we have the signatures of the risky stuff as fast as humanly possible. We even have the signatures of stuff that are not yet on the market. We have also this posture of the crowdsource, the network effect. We know because we are a ton lot contributing to this database. So when you pass your logs, it's like if you had 400,000 people over your shoulder saying, hey, look, this is bad. This, yep, know it. I mean, you can't beat that, can you?
That's interesting. I didn't know the LLM part before we started this. That interests me greatly. Because how do you keep that from getting too expensive? Because if you that was the whole problem, I think, with LLMs is, if you're asking one question a day, okay, fine. But when you start asking it in like real time as the internet moves, doesn't that get expensive, or does the narrowed scope of the agentic approach make that less expensive?
Nah, I get a good one. So you're really this close to the exact problem. The exact problem is when you toss a 35 megabyte log to an LLM, it considers this its context window. And no LLM right now is really able to handle 35 megabytes of context windows, or at a price which is absolutely incredible. So what we do is we pre-treat this with CrowdSec in replay mode. So we look at this, we extract everything we see that is smart, we extract all the IP that are dangerous, and we send only this as a context window to the LLM. And in order to dodge the GDPR problem as well, what we are doing now is we are spinning our own containers on the side, not through public LLMs. And we are also running our own LLMs on the side. It's not we are developing them. We are taking the one like Olama or the GDP5 that we can have access to. They are smart enough. We run them privately, and we spin off our own containers. So that way we dodge both the GDPR problem, which is a huge stuff for us, and also the context window, which would explode if we would just, throw the whole log at the thing.
Right, because I imagine that would you'd blow up the machines.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, interesting. All right, so this is fun. This is a kind of a new way of doing this, though, because you're looking at it from the crowd's perspective. It's in the name, right? It's like having 500,000 researchers versus and that's the challenge of any company selling threat data is you're only as good as the people doing that research, as long as they sit in that chair, do that work. And if they get tired, they have to go on vacation, God forbid they go home and sleep. You got a huge number of them. You could do a lot with this. Cause I remember our first conversation was, we started with just IP addresses. It was just IP addresses. And you've kind of progressed over time and what can be added into that bucket. So talk to me about WAF.
Yeah, the WAF. Sorry. So last time we had no WAF, but
that's right.
Let's take a macro perspective, macro approach to this. Look at the global IPv4 space over the internet. IPv6 is the same. Just let's focus on IPv4 for now. How many IP addresses have value? I mean by that, how many are protecting something of value? VPNs, honestly, yeah, okay, arguably. Mail, it's a done deal. Gmail, Azure, whatever. You don't run your own mail server, or it's extremely rare. And honestly, it's not a real market. DNS, done deal for already 2 decades running. Okay, let's say websites. Websites, honestly, say tomorrow someone is crashing the page of DtSR and tagging something really bad on the homepage. Is it really a security disaster? Or is this really an industrial disaster you will pay thousands of euros to recover from? No, you'll just say, sorry, there was a vulnerability, it's fixed. Maybe you saw an offensive message for just an hour. Our bad, it's corrected. It has absolutely zero value. The only value there is on the internet to defend nowadays is transactional. So everything SaaS, right? Or everything API. So things that are machine to machine, human to machine, or human to human discussing together through APIs and through SaaS. This is the only value that really needs protection over the internet, or where people are really willing to invest money. All of this is HTTP layer. Like 95, 99% plus is HTTP layer. So we could not stay only on the other protocols because we would stay out of the bigger market. And there's another factor to it. Mod security is being phased out, as we know. And gazillions of servers rely on mod security. And they are now, orphans. So we teamed up with another team who is really doing a good work in the WAF space. And we did CrowdSec, to name them. And we forked their own WAF because it's in Golang. And we also are running in Golang. And we say, okay, guys, we're going to make some modification to your core, and we're going to make it massively multiplayer, right? And we're going to make all the signatures, the CV signatures. And we discussed with their team. They are extremely happy with the conversations we have. And we work hand in hand somehow in this. And so CrowdSec now integrates a CrowdSec engine with CrowdSec signatures and the massive support of the CrowdSec community using it. So that's how we came to create a WAF that is, I would say, somewhat a micro WAF, not in the sense of coverage or features. It's really complete and extremely fast and out of band, everything you want from a WAF, but it's suitable to run on a per workload basis. You don't have to have a central WAF with all the bells and whistles, super heavy, and create SPOF in your infrastructure. You can run it just locally on every workload that needs to be protected with just the rules that are adapted to this workload.
So you said out of band. Tell me what do you mean out of band?
Out of band means we don't intercept the query with something that is stopping it. We treat it on the side.
Okay, so you work it out. Okay.
And we feed back the load balance server's proxy or even directly the HTTP server that it should block this request because it's dangerous. So yes, your first one will go through, but as soon as we know it's dangerous, the rest of the communication is cut right away.
That's interesting. You guys are taking a lot of the problem that existed, and this is, Jim, this is something we've been dealing with for a long time, is no matter how good the intelligence, let's start with virus signatures, is always lagging by a long period of time. The research, the development, the deployment of them to the endpoint. And then by the time we got there, okay, hopefully you block something still. But fast forward that, right? IDS signatures, same problem. Snort did a pretty good job at that. Well, we know where that went. And like the WAFs that I dealt with when I was deploying them, I did a ton of Imperva deployment when I was at GE. Right, they go in front, they take all the requests. Long time ago, so it's kind of rudimentary still, but it took forever. And if that thing failed, none of my business leaders were like, "Well, if it fails, just websites will be offline; it'll be fine." No, you'll be fired. You'll be fired, and we'll never do this again. Is what happened. And luckily, we never implement. Luckily or otherwise, we never really implemented it inline in blocking mode, which that's an entirely different problem. But then there's like the speed, the delta the window between when an attacker does something bad and somebody figures it out for the very first time, and when the rest of the herd is protected. And if we can shrink that window, I think that's what you guys are doing. That's really what you're doing. You're compressing that exposure window. For those that, not for everybody, but for those that want to listen, right? There's always some risk, but I think it's very minimal that you're blocking something legitimate with such a big diverse field of people feeding you data. It'd be really weird to game that system. Tell me how you guys Talk to me about how you, and don't give me the secret sauce of it, but tell me how you keep bad data from potentially infiltrating your system.
So it's more or less the same system we're using, the crowd. I mean, it's a core principle. So if an IP address is reported by enough and vastly diversified members of the network, which are past their quarantine time, because we don't care if you're here for less than 6 months, we don't even listen to you. The network is big enough to live without you. Then it's absolutely impossible that it's a mistake. And if you try to inject rogue data, fake data to poison us for whatever reason, you will have to deploy. I give you the recipe. Guys, bad guys that are listening, if you want to screw us up, do the following, right? Step 1, book something like more than 50 different machines over 50 different clouds. That's pretty easy, right? It's going to cost you a lot, but that's pretty easy. It's going to take you maybe a month. Once you've done that, install your CrowdSec agent and make it live for at least 6 months. So that way you reinforce us for free for 6 months. And after that, we start to listen to you. And then you will send your poisonous payload and make us block DtSR because you hate DtSR, Rafael and Jim personally, and so on. Okay, fine. You won for 5 minutes. You gave us 6 months of your time. It costs you a ton of money. And then we will put human in the loop to see how we've been compromised in blocking someone that legitimately shouldn't have been. Now, after 5 years, this never, ever happened because the guys are also looking for profit and have other things to do than defeat a system that is made to lose your time and money in a sinkhole.
That is the brilliance of it, I think, is that you figured out a way to, like, it's possible to game this system.
Yeah.
It's just not financially intelligent. Like, nobody's going to do it because it's dumb. It's bad business to try to game this system. There are other ways. And isn't that what security really has always been about? It's trying to force the hand of the attacker to look at you as a target and go,
nah.
Yeah. Either I can monetize that or I can't.
Right.
And at that point, it just comes down to pure.
Or am I the one monetized here? Because that's the point. They are the one monetized. We often say, like, if the product is free, it's because you're the product. If CrowdSec is free, it's because cyber criminals are the product.
I love it. That's pretty fantastic. All right. Well, how big is the organization now? Like, you guys have been chugging along. This is pretty exciting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we still do this with 27 people. We don't need more. I cannot handle a large company. I'm not made for that. It's too much work.
Okay. 27 people do all that. That's man, that is you're putting these large, I'm sure somebody's listening going, well, I have 150 people in my SOC. And you're like, well, yeah, but these 27 people run an entire, that's a good scale of efficiency, my friend. Guys, I'm telling you, if you're listening and you don't run CrowdSec, and I'm I don't want to sound like an advert, but I'm going to for a second. Like, there's really no good reason not to do this. Feed the community your data, right? Let everybody else learn from you. And if you're that selfish and don't want to, then fine, screw you. Like, we don't need you anyway. But I think there's a really good case for volume here, and participation here really does raise the tide on all the boats. That's cool.
Yeah, and if you're not willing to share with us, you can still use the IDS and the WAF for free. It's your problem. You're not just benefiting from the wisdom of the crowd either. By the way, when you think about it, the IDS rules, they are in infrastructure protection, right? Because this is infrastructure level aggressions usually, where the WAF is far more a business protection. So whatever school you lean into, you will find something that will probably help you. And you're right about the real-time blocking, because when you were using your Imperva, you never went to the block mode because, oh my God, if we fuck up with the business, we are done. Here, we don't have this problem because we are in block mode by default. You don't have to do, because you are backed with hundreds of thousands of people. And last but not least, when there's a new vulnerability coming in the market, we have this system that allows us to create automatically the patch, the V patch, in our WAF. And if your WAF is subscribed to the collection system, it's a basic system in CrowdSec, a default system, okay? The collection is updated every 5 minutes, meaning when a vulnerability is out and your WAF is subscribed to the collection, it will get the signature within 5 minutes.
Oh,
Beat
that's a
that.
short. That's a small window to be an attacker. Not impossible, but it's a small window. I like.
You got to be a sniper.
Yeah, every time we talk to you, I like this more and more. We'll get you. We're out of time, but we got to get you back because this is fun. I really like this concept. I'm glad it's there. I'm glad it's growing. It is. I'll have you back on anytime because this is such a good boon for the security industry. That's not just about making a profit at the risk of actual security. Like you flip that around. And there are not a lot of companies we can point to, Jim. I don't know if I can point to very, very many, maybe one or two that are like security over profit. And this is great. You are one of my favorite Frenchmen, Philippe.
Thank you. Next time, I'm going to send you competent people if you want, like my CTO.
I don't know. Maybe we, I think these kinds of conversations are great because you're plenty confident. Don't sell yourself short. But I like. I got it. Oh, one thing I was always meaning to ask you. I love your logo. Why llamas?
They're actually not llamas. And fun story. I don't know if I have time, but
go tell your story.
All right. So we went to a seminary with all the team and offsite, right? And we wanted them to experience what alpaca were because those are actually alpaca. Yeah. So alpacas in Peruvian means policemen, and they are the one that prevent the herd from falling from the cliff because sheep are stupid enough to fall from the cliff if there are no alpacas preventing them. Because in Peru, like they are cliffs, like they are mountains really. And we go to this farm, and we see the alpacas and so on. We realize that they're pretty much stupid, but that's another story. But it's fun. It's fluffy. It's everything. And the guy looks at our hoodie, the very same hoodie you have, and he's looking at it and it's like, you have llama on your hoodie. And I'm like, man, those are alpaca. He's like, no, those are fucking llamas. I'm breeding alpacas. The difference is the ears of the llama are pointy, like these ones, and the ear of the alpaca are straight and up. So those are llamas on your hoodie. I'm like, okay, give me the gun. Choop, choop. He was the only one knowing this. No, those are alpacas. Make the body dispose of the body.
Just throw it off the cliff. The alpacas won't let that down. All right. Awesome. That is a great story. And on that, we shall end. Philippe, thank you once again for joining us. This has been a lot of fun. It's great having you. This is a great thing to evangelize far and wide, guys. Far and wide. Go check it out. Go check out CrowdSec. And if you subscribe to them on LinkedIn, like I do every Monday, you get you get a, hey, here, dummy, go look at this, because it's always something fun to read. And for some reason, it's always something that's like, oh, hey, we should have known about this for like a month now, or in the last case, like years now, which is slightly terrifying. Anyway, once again, Philippe, thanks for joining us. Jim, good times as always.
Always.
Folks, that's another Down the Security Rabbit Hole podcast episode out. Thanks for listening. Subscribe us, like us, join us, ask questions, give CrowdSec a shot, and we are out of here. The alpacas will wave. Bye, guys. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.